Hi, I'm Janice from Treble Tree Music. I'm a veteran music teacher. I'm sharing the tricks of the trade that I've learned over the years from teaching in the music classroom. I hope some of these tips will be helpful for you. Today, I'm going to be talking about teaching piano class in the elementary music room. And I was really, really lucky in my most recent position to have 30 keyboards, 30-inch keyboards, Yamahas, and all of the cabling and everything to work with that. And I did have to share it with another teacher at another school. And so I usually ended up using those keyboards at the end of the school year, those last 6 weeks. And we'll talk some more about that in a couple of minutes. One of the challenges is keeping everyone busy when there's so many of the children, so little time, and coming in and out of the classroom, and you're the only teacher and you're on your own with all of that. And so I set up some systems in order to make teaching, learning classroom, plus from kindergarten through fifth grade, be a little bit easier. It can feel overwhelming, and sometimes we may not have as much time as we want. There are lots of new softwares and keyboard systems out there, expensive, of course, and I recommend if you don't have any pianos, check with your parent club, check about getting into a grant. You could even just start with 10 one year, add 10 the next. It's always something I really think is worth putting the time and energy and getting a grant for those. You may already be a piano teacher and, like me, taught private voice. I taught private voice. I teach private voice and piano, and everybody has their own curriculum that they like to use when they're teaching. I went ahead and I really like the Bastion if I'm teaching privately. I like how they've got everything sequential. It's really easy for me. But teaching in a full 30-person classroom, that's a little different. And I'm really mostly interested in trying to get the kids excited about piano, and then maybe think about going on and taking private lessons. So I created a piano system where I put the pieces together. I put everything in a notebook. It lasts about 6 weeks. Not everyone gets through the notebook in 6 weeks, but that is about the time frame I usually teach. And I usually teach at the very end of the year. What I'm trying to do is reinforce the independent learning so that I'm not having to run around to every student. I give them the tools to be able to, okay, well, if I can't do this, what am I going to do next? I want them to learn how to work with each other in small groups and then also follow directions. Those are all big ticket items for teaching classroom piano, especially if you're doing a multi-age group. Now, I've also used this system in my private studio with small groups. So you could even use it in just a one-on-one. If you're giving somebody just a little bit of a taste of what it is to learn piano, I think this would also work. It's called Piano for the Elementary Music Classroom. Well, what does this notebook have inside? It has, there's a notebook and it's reproducible pages, and you simply copy those and then put them in back to back in covered protective sheets. Now, I do that because kids can be a little hard on notebooks, and plus I don't want them to write on the pages that are in the notebooks. I have a notebook at every piano. And also, I organize it by red, white, blue, and orange, red being the easiest, white being the next hardest, all the way to orange. And by going all the way through this notebook, if children get all the way through, it would get them about ready for level one piano. Oftentimes, I will just keep everything, and if they don't get everything the next year, come back, hand back their check-off sheets, and we can continue on with a little review of wherever they left off. One of the other things that this program contains are task sheets. So within the notebook, the kids will see an exercise or an activity to do, but then there'll also be a task sheet, which is a writing component reinforcing what they've just learned. And they have to get up and get out of their seats and go to a task bucket where all of the tasks are located. And there's about 15 tasks. Then they can turn those in, as well as showing me that they understand. That can work as an assessment. It can work as a worksheet that they can complete. And then I know where they are in that skill. And that would be in addition to the evaluation for playing skill. We'll get to that in just a little bit too. This resource also includes a workbook for kinder and first, and then second through fifth. And in the kinder and the first, I include the task. I have a separate workbook, but I include in the workbook, I put in their tasks, and then I put some other activities such as finding black keys, drawing their finger numbers on their hands. Second through fifth also has does not have the test sheets, but has more supportive materials to the piano notebook. Kinders and first, I find that they need more of that one-on-one with me in order to get through all of that for the first few weeks. The program also includes progress reports. So on the Kinder First, I have emojis. They can circle, hey, I think I've got it. I'm not quite sure. I haven't got it yet. I'm not giving up. They just circle that on their progress report. I show them where to put the date in there, and then there's also pictures of each lesson rather than the title of each lesson, and that helps them to identify what part they're supposed to do with that. We start as a whole group at the kinder first grade, and we go over maybe one worksheet, talk about in the very beginning how to fill out, how to circle those emojis. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll have them come back from the pianos to the floor, and then we talk, or to their chairs, and then we together decide, well, how did you do with that? And we do that piece together as we're getting started. In the second through fifth grade workbook, they're pretty good at being able to write the date, identify how many times that they've played the piece, and then let me know, do a check off if they've done a task, and then also indicate when they're ready to play either for me or for the class. I like to spend a little bit of time in piano practicing how to introduce yourself, how to say what's the name of the piece that you're going to play, and then practice doing a nice bow. We talk about nerves and how to manage nerves. Take a deep breath. I don't make all the children play in front of everybody, but if they want to, I make sure to encourage them and then show them what that looks like. They can also play for me and get a check off on a performance by just making sure that I come to their desk and take care of that. Some of our kids will have already been taking lessons, and oftentimes what I'll do is have them bring in their books if they have them, and so can make a copy or two of the pieces that they're working on. So when they come to music, they would just practice the things they're working on with their their private piano teacher. I also keep a couple of folders, level 1, level 2, level 3 notebooks in the back of the task bucket or in another bucket right nearby, and they can take a look. I usually have popular songs that they can play or some more challenging pieces, and I first make sure they can play the last songs in the notebook, and then they can pick one, and then we discuss which one's going to be best for them. With so many kids and then just one teacher, I teach them we create groups of 4, it could be 3, and then we've already got a group name, we've already got, maybe there's a president, maybe there's a writer in their little group. Then we practice what it looks like to go over to the pianos from our whole group sitting area. And I have a couple of groups demonstrate how to walk slowly, how to open their notebook, how to put their headphones on. Now, I have old school headphones. They work, and each year I've been buying a couple of nicer headphones. So keep that in mind. It doesn't have to be fancy. Once they've gotten to the pianos and they're working as a group of 4, then we talk about, well, if you need help, what can you do? First, ask your elbow partner. If that person can't help you, then ask the person across your way. I usually have 2 on either side of the table. Then I've already placed on all of the keyboards a blue cup turned upside down, and that's the signal that I want them to use to let me know if they have any troubles. Once the cup is turned over, I can just scan across the room and see who needs some help. We also talk about how not to take that cup and holler and say really loud, I need help, I need help. No, no, no. Just turn it up, be ready to go. And once I've come by and helped you, you just turn the cup over. I also like to make sure that before we ever go to the pianos that we're looking at the class rules. We're also reviewing the piano class rules. And please do check my resource for the piano class rules and how to use the blue cup and what to do if you're stuck. And I'll put a link to that there as well. Also, when we're getting started with the keyboards, we explore the different parts of the keyboard and the keyboard notebooks and progress sheets and the worksheets and tasks. We do all of that before we ever go to the pianos. In the first few lessons, we really talk about how to make sure that we're doing the right thing. You're also going to want a place to turn in all of the sheets that they get done or turn in their tasks. I have drawers that I have for each class. I also put all of that class's workbooks together and put a rubber band by there. Then I can know exactly where everything is. They know where to put everything as well. Now, coming back to the task bucket, I have a separate container, and that's where I have all of the tasks. I have file folders, and then I put each level into each of those file folders so the children can just get up, go get their task, bring it back to their work area, complete that, and then turn it in. Be sure that you have that in a convenient spot and also where your paper pencils are. You may want to have them get a pencil on the way in, but making sure that they put that back in a spot on their way out of the classroom. When do I teach this group class? I usually teach it at the very last part of the school year. So there's so many field trips. There's so many end of the year parties. It makes it really easy to have just a quiet send off at the end of the year. It's really a nice way to wrap up the year, and I like that. And you know what my favorite thing is? Headphones. You know what I mean? It's wonderful to look across the room and see everybody working individually. Some other uses for this program, this piano resource is, again, you could use it for private group lessons, however many. I usually only have four in a private piano class at my studio. You could do individual piano exploration with new students, or you could also use the notebook in a private setting, private class setting, and using those writing tasks and writing notebooks. I think you might find that's an extra off the bench activities that you will find helpful as well. This resource is available on Teachers Pay Teachers and also on Etsy. I hope you found some ideas today in this video, and if you liked it, hey, go ahead and subscribe or hit the like button and the bell to see all of the new videos that I put out. Appreciate you being here today. Look for part 2, which is actually how I put all of the electronics together, how I put the keyboards, how I set them up, and maybe that'll make it easier for you when you get ready to set up all of your pianos too. Thanks for listening today.